All right, we are going to go ahead and get started. So good evening, everyone. Welcome to our fourth annual Alumni Mission Symposium, which is now rebranded to this Becoming a Terp Legacy series. This is the final session of the series, and we are excited to have you all here this evening. My name is Jessica Lee, and I'm the Program Manager for Student Engagement at your Alumni Association. In my role, I aim to identify, cultivate, and train student and alumni ambassadors for the university. The Alumni Association helps you to connect and stay involved with the Terp community and campus. We help alumni advance personally and professionally while improving the success of fellow Terps. We also help preserve Maryland tradition to boost your Terp pride and work to elevate the value of your degree, the reputation of your alma mater, and the greater good. The university has over 40,000 students, nearly 30,000 of which are undergraduates. These undergraduate students study in 12 academic colleges representing over 90 different majors, have internships in Washington, D.C., Annapolis, Baltimore, and beyond, and get involved across campus in the over 800 student clubs and organizations. We at the Alumni Association have our very own student ambassador program called the Student Alumni Leadership Council, otherwise known as SALC. This group inspires a sense of community between Terps across generations while instilling lifelong loyalty to our alma mater. And tonight we have actually three of our current students on SALC joining us to help answer some of your questions. So we will be hearing from a panel of current students and parent and family members tonight. We hope that you will leave today's program with an understanding of a glimpse of what it means to be a Maryland Terp, both as a parent and family member and also a student, including opportunities and experiences available to get involved, the many exciting things that the university has to offer as well. So during this event, please feel free to post any questions that you may have using the chat feature on Zoom. And so thank you all for being here again. And without further ado, let's begin by having each of our panelists introduce themselves. So we'll start with parent and family members first. So if you all could share your name, graduation year, degrees that you received at Maryland, as well as your parent years, that would be great. And honestly, whatever else you would like to share with the group is totally fine as well. So we are going to start with Sharon.
Hey, good evening. I am facing a window and looking at an amazing storm happening right now at the same time. So I hope where you all are, the weather is a little calmer than here in Baltimore. I am a 1993 graduate of the School of Journalism at University of Maryland. I also had a double major in English, and I am the parent of two daughters currently at Maryland, class of 2022 and class of 2024.
Great, thank you so much. Burman is up next.
Hi, everybody. I'm Burman Berger. I graduated in 1985 with a degree in government and politics. And I was very involved in campus when I was here. I was in Omicron Delta Kappa. I was an RA. I did a whole bunch of other student activity things, which I felt like were frankly as valuable to me as the academics that I had as well. In terms of parent years, we brainwashed our kids early that they were going to College Park, and they came through for us academically to get accepted. My first son, Ben, graduated in 2017 with a degree in economics. And he's working as a financial analyst and also studying to be an actuary. My second son, Eli, graduated in 2019 and magna cum laude in civil engineering, and he's pursuing a PhD now in environmental engineering at Georgia Tech. My third son, Ezra, is just finished his second year, and he's in the Smith School of Business, and he's majoring in what is he majoring in? Oh, finance and business analytics, and he's actually going to be graduating in 3 years. And then pursuing a master's for his fourth year. And then my daughter is 13, but she's already kind of starting her first draft of her Maryland application.
Oh, we love to see it. Thank you so much. And last but not least, we have Karen.
Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Karen Green. I am a 1991 graduate of Maryland, also in school of journalism. And my husband also graduated in 1990. And we have twin boys that just graduated this last month. My son Jonathan, with a degree from, he majored in government politics and economics, and my son Matthew was in kinesiology in School of Public Health.
Thank you so much.
That's it.
Great. And so now we'll have our current students introduce themselves. So if each of you can share your name, current major or majors, graduation year, and a little bit of your involvement at Maryland, because I know all of you are involved with like 10,000 things. So just a couple highlights will be great. And let's start with Emily.
Hi, my name is Emily. I am majoring in bioengineering and I am the class of 2022. On campus, I am also involved in ODK as well as Valley Company M, the Quest Honors Program, which is in the business school, and also SALC, as Jessica mentioned. Both my parents met at Maryland, actually. My mom earned a degree in accounting and my dad earned a degree in mechanical engineering. My mom also went back to get her master's of education. But all my extended family went to Maryland. I have about 27 alumni in my family and counting. So Terrapins are definitely in my blood. I was definitely expected to go to Maryland and I absolutely love it here. And that's it.
Thank you, Emily. Next we have Alyssa.
Hi, my name is Alyssa. I am majoring in criminology and criminal justice, and I am graduating in 2023. I am in SALC, as Jessica said, and also I'm involved with the campus ministry organizations, interfaith organizations at UMD, specifically the Humble Walk, which is the Lutheran campus ministry, and I'm an RA on campus as well. And I also have many Terps in my family, so I was definitely excited to be here.
Thank you, Alyssa. And last but not least, Khalil.
Hi, everyone. My name is Khalil. I'm currently majoring in government politics, international relations. I'm in the class of 24 and I'm on campus. I'm involved with Army ROTC, Federal Fellows. I'm an AMP for Stat 100, TA for Unit 100, and of course, SLC.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So we are going to now move into the Q&A portion. So first I will ask folks in attendance, if you all have any questions for our fantastic panelists, please feel free to post those in the chat and we will make sure that those get answered. So I'll give it a couple seconds, and then if I don't see anything, I do have some questions that I've prepared that I thought would be helpful to the group. But of course, if you have any questions, we would certainly be able to answer those. And Sharon, you wanted to say something?
I was just wondering if it's since it's a small group, if any of the attendees wanted to introduce themselves and give their context for what brought them to the session today. Voluntarily, of course.
That's totally fine too. If attendees, if you all want to unmute yourselves and share a little bit about why you're here and what brought you here, that would be awesome as well. But no pressure if you don't want to. But we always love a good chatty bunch. I don't see any questions in the chat yet. No questions. I don't think I've ever been on a panel where no one in the audience has had a question.
Because I'm not in the audience. I'm the one who asks all the questions.
All right, well, let's hope that maybe some questions populate or come through, but we'll just go ahead and start with some questions that I kind of have for the group. So this question is particularly for our parents on this call. So what made Maryland stick out to you and your student when they were looking at colleges and universities? And anyone can answer.
I'll start. What I liked about Maryland, I always tell folks it's a buffet. And so it's a question of what you want to order off the buffet. And that's, to me, the biggest advantage of a large campus is that you can create your own experience here, you know, kind of find your own thing. And I think that to me was, you know, really the biggest advantage. And it's something that for folks who do want to get involved in extracurricular activities, there's plenty of opportunities, to do that, not just, with the academics, but also with the social activities as well.
I agree. I mean, that was kind of what drew us to Maryland too, just that variety of just having so much to offer and just everything right there. Location was also a big draw. It's, near DC, near Baltimore, near Annapolis, easy to get to from so many different places. People coming from like the Philadelphia area, but just so easy, and then easy to get to for flights. We ended up moving, and the flying school, but there were 2 airports nearby, so it just had so much to offer in terms of athletics, academics, all the extracurriculars, location, diversity. And even though it's a big school, you could make it seem smaller by getting involved.
I would agree with both of those things. And just to tie in a little bit on the location, I think one of the things that is really nice about Maryland for both of my girls is that it has a campus that is very distinct. But it has easy access to public transit. So the fact that they can hop on the metro and be in DC in 15 minutes, or on the train and be in Baltimore and Philly within a number of hours, has just made the world a lot bigger for them, while still having that kind of safe campus feel that an enclosed campus has. And I really think at such a big school like that, often they're very rural or they're very urban. And Maryland is a bit unique in that it has a little bit of the best of both worlds.
Great, thank you. And then for our students, kind of similar question, but from a current student perspective, what made UMD stand out for you when you were applying to colleges and universities? And ultimately, why did you decide to attend UMD?
I can go first. Can you hear me? Okay, there we go. I didn't really know exactly what I wanted out of my college experience. I have a lot of family members that went to UMD, so I visited UMD for Maryland Day and things like that before, but I wasn't sure. I thought I wanted a smaller school because I wanted a community feel. But I'm actually in a living learning program, and I was admitted into the living learning program when I was admitted into Maryland. And so that was one of the things that helped me to make my decision, was knowing that I was going to be in a program where I was going to have that smaller school community feel and have smaller classes that I would have with a select group of people, where professors would know who I was and where I would be able to build those relationships early on, because I was worried about having that in my freshman year and, getting lost. So that was a big part of deciding on a big school like Maryland for me, because I wanted, all the sports and all of the fun stuff, but I also wanted to be able to build those smaller connections. So that was Maryland for me.
Oh, sorry about that, Emily. But yeah, for me personally, there's a lot with it. I'm originally from New Jersey, and I just wanted to go a bit far away from home, but not too far. And Maryland's only 2.5 hours away, so that's just like perfect amount. The amount of opportunities that the school offers, the proximity to DC, and like Sharon said, with it feels like you have the city right next to you, but it's not like a really urban. It's not really rural at all. It gives you like really a suburban kind of feel, and just like the diversity and the amount of people. I really love big schools, and just like having like all those people and just like having all those outreaches is just really important.
I think for me, the biggest thing that I noticed was the different support things that there are at Maryland, specifically for engineering. The women in engineering department is super strong at Maryland, and that wasn't really something that I saw really at all at the other schools I was looking at, especially the big engineering schools. And so I went to a lot of the outreach programs throughout middle school and high school, which kind of got me to know the program a little bit more. And they have a living and learning program, mentoring programs, tutoring, a lot of awesome things that I was able to utilize my first year, and then also be able to give back to those programs as I was an upperclassman, and just have that smaller community. Even throughout a big school, you can kind of choose your experience and get involved in different corners of campus. And I think that really helps to have a nice, like diverse, well-rounded experience. in areas that are not academic too.
Great, thank you all. So a question for our parents. So how have things at UMD changed since you were a student? You might have to think about this one.
A couple of things that stand out. One is the diversity of the student and the faculty population, which is just a huge advantage versus, when I went here many, many years ago. And we came in kind of ignorant about, I had an African-American roommate in college and I learned so much from him. But that was kind of an odd thing at that point in terms of the population. And now to me, it's much more diverse, and I've learned, I think my kids certainly have learned a lot about that. The campus also is much nicer than when I went here. And I don't know if they waited until I left to clean it up, but it's really a beautiful place to walk around. There's so many areas around the campus to chill out, to exercise and stuff like that. And when I was here, I was a tour guide, and I remember going in the back of Cole Fieldhouse and pointing out the North Campus and saying, way over there is lot 4. That was the commuter parking lot. And they say it takes 4 years to graduate from here, but 5 if you park in lot 4. And so, but it's not just a bunch of parking lots now, and really is just a very pleasant place to just be at.
Well, I will say one of the things that really seems to be very different than when I was at Maryland is the support that is available for students. I don't know if I just wasn't paying attention or I somehow squeaked through, but I do not remember having an advising session until sometime late in my junior year, when I found out I couldn't graduate on time because I didn't have a right class. And, I thought I was a fairly diligent student and I could have handled all of that on my own, but even the most diligent student needs, help sometimes. And the support that's available for both of my girls, both voluntarily and required, is just really fantastic. They each have 2 advisors. They have a lot of places they can go for help. The student-led tutoring resources, I think, have been fantastic and easy to find. And you just, even though it's big, there's so many ways that things like that are communicated that there's always help available if you need it.
I will piggyback on both of those things. Agree, the campus. I thought the campus was beautiful when I went there. That's one of the things that drew me to it as a student. And I also gave tours, and I remember walking around and just being so proud of the campus. But it is just so much more beautiful now, and all the addition of all the buildings and everything. Also the accessibility. I don't remember that my kids just seem like they have relationships with their professors, even though it's a big school. They seem like that they still connected with their professors, were able to, professors just seemed available and accessible. And like Sharon, maybe I just wasn't aware, but I feel like they made so many more connections. And then the other piece of it is the parent involvement. My mom went to Maryland, my dad went to Loyola Maryland. I grew up in Baltimore. So, and tons of aunts and uncles and cousins, and same thing, a huge Terp family. And so my parents were pretty involved, but I don't remember them knowing as much as I knew, like the webinars that they offer for parents and the parent family. I can't remember the name of the exact office, the Parent Family Connection, and the newsletters that go out. I feel like I was so much more informed than my parents were when I went there. I always knew what was going on. I knew like all the deadlines in the calendar, the academic calendar, and housing and dining plans, and everything was just, and a lot of that obviously is technology. It's just so easy to find anything. And everyone is just such a phone call or an email away, and just so helpful and available and accessible.
Great. For our students, how did you go about choosing your major when you applied to Maryland? And then if you've switched majors, share a little bit about what that was like as well.
Yeah, I can go first. So then I always was into really history and government politics. So I knew that was gonna be the path I was going towards too. But then when I found about the school public policy, that's when I started doing more research and towards like realizing that like I'm more of a person that likes to do problem solution type of things. But then later I switched back to government politics because I realized that I wanted to do more like a Department of State. Like I wanted to become a foreign service officer, and it's like really easy to switch. You just have to you don't even have to talk to your advisor. You just have to talk to the other schools, and they'll like make it really easy for you. And just all the websites are really easy to access to see like the 4-year plans for the courses to take, and just a really smooth process overall.
Sorry, Alyssa. For me, throughout high school, I'd always really enjoyed math and science, and especially more of the life sciences. But the reason why I chose bioengineering over just biology or some kind of like more just life science is I didn't want to lose that like math, physics, technical side. And so luckily for me, bioengineering had been invented because it wasn't always around. And so it was a perfect combination for me to kind of be able to pursue 2 different interests of mine. And then, as I mentioned before, the Women in Engineering department had a lot of outreach events that I went to when I was a kid. And so that kind of helped me decide that I really liked that creative problem solving type of perspective with also like the more technical skills.
I knew that I wanted to study criminal justice coming into college, and the University of Maryland has one of the best criminal justice programs in the country. So that was, I mean, a big sell for me as far as coming here also, because I already knew what my major was going to be. And also I have not considered changing my major at all because I love it. But I think it's pretty cool that, you know, all of the textbooks that we're reading and the theories that we're reading about, like there are professors that teach at UMD that we're like referencing. And so you can like go to office hours for, you know, a professor and be like, hey, so this theory that you were, you know, discovering and talking about in your research, like, can we talk about this further? So I think that's just something unique about UMD, at least for criminal justice. I think it's pretty cool.
Great. Going back to our parents, so how has Maryland impacted your career and your life? I realize that is a very broad question, but feel free to answer that in whatever way that you wish.
Okay, I guess I'll start again. Career-wise, probably not too much, because I graduated in government and politics, went to law school, and practiced law for 15 years, and then switched over to tax accounting, and I've been doing that for 16 years or so. But where it did impact me was just kind of developing critical thinking skills. I came in kind of very shy and introverted, and you know, the large campus and the opportunities really gave me opportunity to kind of you know, really kind of blossom here as far as developing personal skills that I think have carried over a great deal, you know, to a lot of different things, and the relationships I've developed not only with peers but also with professors and administrators here. I've still kept in touch with a lot of those folks, and they've maintained really good friendships, and they've been great sounding boards, you know, for me over the years. So I honestly tell people that you know, the campus is my second home for a lot of reasons, and so, you know, it really does mean that much to me.
You want to go, Karen, or? Okay. In terms of career, it is kind of funny to hear Burman say that, because you think that you go to college for all these career advantages, and that's definitely true, but a lot of it is what you make of it. And, you know, one of the ways that Maryland has helped me with my career is the College of Journalism at the time was still home for public relations. So actually my specialty was in PR, and my internship that I had at that time led to my first job, which really which ended up was for a design firm. And that kind of pushed the direction of my career, even standing till today. Like, I realized through that experience that was facilitated by the university that I really although I'm not myself especially creative or artistic, that I work really well with creative and artistic people and help them kind of interpret the things that they're designing, and I can help them come up with words to sell the things they're talking about. And that directly came from an internship at the University of Maryland. So the degree, not so much, but the career department and that type of thing was a huge impact on my career. So, and personally, it is just like a family and friends. You know, I'm still friends with people from that time, and I love going places and meeting people who are also Terps. We were in Maine last summer, and I saw a Terp license plate, and I was like, you know, it's just fun to talk to people that you run into all the time, and it is a little family, a big little family. Yeah.
I was also specialized in public relations at the School of Journalism. And I do credit it. I did not go into journalism. I went to law school as well and practice law still part-time now, but I do credit my education at Maryland. I was a government minor, and I was sort of teaching me how to write. I mean, I feel like I learned how to study at Maryland, maybe because it was a little bigger, and it was, you know, so I really had to make, you know, time management skills and, you know, really stay on top of everything. So I do credit Maryland for teaching me how to study and how to write, which served me very, very well in law school. So I do think that it absolutely impacted my career and, you know, prepared me. I met my husband at Maryland, so that's, you know, a huge impact socially. And same thing, just like the friend. I mean, I still have a group of friends who I go away every year together. I have a lot that I keep in touch with, and just love seeing people from Maryland, seeing the Terp thing. I'm not in Maryland any longer, so not as common, you know, in Maryland, everybody there, but now I was in Philadelphia for many years and now in Florida. So there's not as many Terps, so it's definitely exciting when you do see like a Terp license plate. And it feels like community. It really does. And of course, going back to all the football games and basketball games, which is one of the reasons why my kids like it so much, because they just felt so comfortable being there and, you know, going to campus.
Great, thank you. So kind of speaking about involvement and just campus life for our students, how did you get involved during your first semester on campus, and how is it balancing academics, involvement, social life, mental health, all of that?
So for me, I just started my some first semester during COVID, so it was really awkward. I was still on campus, but there wasn't really much like there obviously wasn't any in-person classes except for ROTC for me personally. And how I got involved with campus was just through like looking through emails of like what the school sent with like First Look Fair. That it was virtual this year, and I just got from like word of mouth from like my peer mentors like in ROTC, and Amy Prechicelli told me to join SLC. So that's how kind of everything rolled out, and just hearing it from everyone, like from everyone older than me, like all these things to join. I just joined everything I could possibly do just so I can like see, just so I can evolve as a person and see what it makes of me. And how I organize and just schedule everything is through Google Calendar. So I just make sure that I apply out all my classes, like what time to do homework, and just time for like meetings, club meetings, and like club events and whatnot. But yeah.
For me, Maryland definitely taught me how to say no to things. I think my first semester, I wanted to do everything. The First Look Fair made it very easy to join a lot of different clubs, and it really made me have to focus on the ones that I really enjoyed. I think student life is so important to my Maryland experience. I think it's honestly even more important than my academics. Like I think when I look back on my college years, being involved in student life is definitely what I'm going to remember and what I'm going to really value. And it's not really my degree, even though that's kind of the point of college, but I think the friendships I've made and the opportunities I've had to grow both in leadership and also just as a person, I just think being involved in student life is just so important. And I always stress it to everybody, to younger students that I meet, just because I think it really has impacted me as a person. But yeah, the first look fair was super easy because I remember when I was touring campus, a student told me that there's a club for everything, and there really is a club for everything. People are still starting new clubs every year, so there's definitely lots of opportunities to get involved.
My first semester, similar to Khalil, I just tried to join everything. First look fair was both overwhelming, but also so exciting because I was like, there's not going to be something for this specific thing. And then somebody would point me to a table on the other side of the mall and they're like, yeah, of course there is. So I ended up joining a lot of things, and some of those things I decided to cut later on, but they were really big on allowing me to meet people and to figure out what it was that I wanted to focus on for my extra time, because I wanted to be able to actually commit my time to those things. But first semester, I joined the Residence Hall Association, and that was how I met some of my mentors who invited me to join SALC, and also encouraged me to become an RA and to get involved in other things that were like more suitable to the opportunities that I was looking for. So they've been really helpful for just internships and just finding things around campus. And also I became involved with my campus ministry organization. I knew about that before coming to UMD, and so I already knew that I was going to be involved in that. But that's another thing that it was more about meeting the people than actually about the what I was going to be doing in the different organizations. So that's been really helpful for me and just a great opportunity. Every club has something to offer because it has people in it that have something to offer. So that's been great.
Great. And for those of you that are probably like, what is the first look fair? People keep mentioning first look fair. So first look fair is basically like a 2-day typically on campus, although I know with COVID it was virtually done, where all of our student organizations basically have a table out on McKeldin Mall, and you get a lot of free stuff and you get to learn more about all the different organizations and clubs that Maryland has to offer. And so again, it's a 2-day event that typically happens in the fall, virtually or in person. It's a really great way to see what Maryland has to offer and kind of get a glimpse at what things you might be interested in once you get to campus. All right, so we have a couple more questions, and I think these actually are for both students and parents. So we'll start with what piece of advice would you give other Terp parents with prospective students? And then for students, what piece of advice would you give to our prospective students?
Sorry. I'm gonna go, Sharon. My advice would just be to reach out to people. I know a lot of people, when they are applying to schools or get admitted into schools, they're looking at the Facebook groups and the Instagrams and following them. And I know that I was very quiet on those pages, and I never reached out to anyone because I was like, oh, like, they don't really want to get to know me. But a lot of people do want to get to know you. So if you want to get to know more about UMD or about a school, reach out to people that are there. Like I love when people reach out to me on Instagram. Hey, I see UMD in your bio. Like, how is it? Like, what's your major? What's your favorite club? What is the diner like? What is the dorm life like? Asking people questions. People love to talk about their college experience. So if you have questions or you want to know something from someone's specific perspective, just ask.
Yeah, I can definitely echo that. Just putting yourself out there. I think a phrase that I hear a lot in college is you kind of get what you put into things. So it really is kind of on you to seek out those opportunities because there are so many on campus that's kind of hard to even piece through the ones that you actually want. But just being able to, like Alyssa said, just reach out and really put yourself out there and even go outside of your comfort zone just to have different experiences and really like be able to have different just have different opportunities and just really learn from different things that you wouldn't have necessarily put yourself into. And a lot of the times college is like the place where there are so many different things that you can do, and it's like the place where you can kind of find your interests that you might not even have known that you had.
I'll go. I think that, I mean, we do have a lot of active parent organizations too. And I think the advice I would probably give is to have the parents get involved in that in some way, because frankly, I don't think your kids are really going to tell you what's going on campus. That's just the way it is. That's the way it was when we were students as well. And so the only way you're going to really get that information is to kind of get involved with some of the listservs and some of the organizations on campus as well. I guess that's not necessarily unique to Maryland, other than I think Maryland does a pretty good job of parent involvement versus other schools. So that would be, I guess, that's the advice I could give at this point.
I would agree that Maryland does a great job with parent involvement, and the website is just so helpful. You know, there's nothing you can't find. There's phone, you know, even if there's phone numbers, even if you can't find the answer, there's always a phone number, somebody to call. So I would just, you know, recommend that as well. Just kind of take advantage of, you know, take the time and search that, you know, search the website and take advantage of all the different parent organizations, and you do get a lot of information, find out a lot of what's going on that way, and then, you know, you can ask your kids to kind of just elaborate.
I guess my advice would be, as a parent of a prospective Terp who is also a legacy, or who is parent of a, anyway, why you're all here, is that, you know, maybe kind of throw away any of your, well, when I was there, this was rough, or, you know, maybe, because I think that Maryland's done a good job of keeping most everything that I liked about it and making most everything else better. And so, you know, some of the things like, you know, the advising, I didn't even know I had an advisor in the 1990s, the early 1990s. Now that's improved. Like, they figured that out and they made it a better place. And so, you know, just any of those perceived obstacles that you may have is that were maybe problematic at a time when you were there, just trust that they're a lot better now.
Yeah, my college advice would just be, make like your college experience is what you make of it. Like, just join, just don't step out of your comfort zone. Like, really try to like join like clubs that you wouldn't think you would be, but like, because you just want to see who you are as a person, and you want to like just don't be afraid to ask, or like ask anyone for questions, because honestly, no one really, like, it's just like you fake it till you make it. Really, that's like my saying. That's how. But yeah, just say yes. Well, sorry, let me correct myself. Just sorry, I don't know what I was saying. I'm sorry. I lost track of what I was trying to say.
You're totally fine. You're totally fine. Anyone else want to share? I think everyone. All right, so we have one, I think, last question that again is for all of our parents and students on the call tonight. So what makes you the most proud as a Terp parent or as a current Terp student?
I'll go. I'm really most proud of how academically challenging and rigorous the school is now, and how much the students there seem to be engaged and smart and looking for opportunities and really pushing the boundaries. And I'm so proud that my kids are there now, and, you know, how they're being challenged every day by both their professors and by their peers. I think the caliber of the learning that's happening there is amazing.
Similarly, I'm most proud of just how much the kids were able to get out of their academic experiences in Maryland, in terms of, you know, being able to connect with their professors and having professor availability, whether even during COVID, when, you know, the last year and a half of school was, you know, a lot of things virtual. We still were, you know, checking with professors, still were able to go to office hours. And I remember when I was there, office hours were just when they said they had. Now office hours, they like encourage, they really have like discussions at office hours and really encourage the kids to go and seek out and all the opportunities. There's research opportunities there, you know, all the extracurricular, the social, which is everything. And that's what I just think is just makes me so proud that my kids are, you know, Maryland graduates. They had all those opportunities and availability to them.
What just happened? There we go. There we go. Oh, there. Okay, so I'm proud, first of all, that they got into the school, which is when I applied, somebody once referred to Maryland as being the Sears of colleges. You know, decent value, but you know, nothing special. And I remember just showing up there one afternoon, and they said, "Okay, you're in. See you in the fall." And so I'm proud of that, but I'm also proud that each of them has made their own experiences here. As I mentioned before, I was involved heavily with student leadership. And, you know, my oldest one was involved with the fraternities here. My middle one was involved very much with the civil engineering department. And then, you know, my younger one is involved a lot with the business schools with some of their organizations as well. So they've made it their own experience. And I'm proud of the fact that it wasn't, you know, the only thing we encouraged them to do was get involved, but they created their own identity. And I'm proud of that Maryland gave them the opportunity to do that.
I'm pretty proud of the research opportunities. I think that's definitely a plus for having a big school, as you can just email professor and be like, hey, I'm interested in your research, and they'll be happy to tell you more or even offer you a position in their lab. And then the other thing I am really proud of is just the overall culture. I remember pre-COVID, I could start up a conversation with pretty much any student, just talking about just learning about their interests and what they're studying, just bonding over the fact that we are both Terps. And I think the most recent experience I've been super proud of is the ballet company that I'm involved with on campus. We asked Testudo to come perform with us to do a little like recording because of COVID, and they responded right away. They were super friendly about it. They showed up on like early. They were all about it. And I just think that just kind of shows just the overall spirit and the culture of campus.
Yeah, I think I'm always pretty proud to say that I'm a Terp. And I think I am proud of being able to say that because academically it means something. Like it means something in every context. If I say, you know, I go to UMD, oh, that's great. You know, I know, you know, there are professors there that are, you know, leading in certain research areas and things. But also if I'm, you know, talking to friends from high school about, you know, college sports, I'm like, oh, okay, well, I go to UMD. So, you know, that sucks for you. You know, it's competitive in every context. And I think that that's what I'm really proud of. And the organizations extend beyond just being, you know, undergraduate student level. Like you have those connections with your professors, with alumni, with like with my family. I have that connection of my family members that went to UMD, but also, you know, their friends and things like that. You have that like Emily was saying, that culture of being connected to a larger family. So that's something that I'm very proud of.
For me, I'm probably most proud of the Army RTC battalion at Maryland. Just like the camaraderie, the rigor, and the top-notch professors, and just like all the opportunities that the battalion offers with us, and like how high we were standing, how competitive each and every single cadet tries and strives to be. It's really motivating, and that's what I really always love.
Thank you all so much. So I think that was our last question, unless I see one that comes through in the chat. But thank you all so much, especially to our fantastic panelists who joined us tonight. So this concludes tonight's event and our Becoming a Terp Legacy event series for this year. So whether this was your first event you attended in our series or you attended all four, thank you all so much for attending these events. We hope that you were able to learn a little bit more about how to best prepare to be Terp when it comes to applying to the University of Maryland, and a glimpse of the overall Maryland experience. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me directly, and I will post my email in the chat there for any questions that you may have, or if you want to be connected to any of our panelists, I'm sure they'd be happy to chat further with you all. But we hope to see you at another one of our future Alumni Association related events, and go Terps. Thank you, everyone.